The Avengers began not as a symbol of unity, but as a desperate alliance against a common threat. In Avengers number 1, 1963, creators Stan Lee and Jack Kirby assembled Iron Man, Thor, Ant-Man, Wasp, and the Hulk, not to form a club, but to stop Loki. That first chaotic mission exposed the team's weaknesses just as much as their strength. Hulk left after only 2 issues, setting a pattern of internal conflict that would define them for decades. When Captain America was discovered frozen in ice and revived, he became the team's moral compass and military strategist, grounding the group through countless crises. Over the years, the Avengers roster evolved constantly, adding heroes like Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Vision, and Black Panther. Each new member brought their own ideals, powers, and rivalries, shaping the team into a dynamic force rather than a fixed lineup. The Avengers faced the most dangerous threats in the Marvel Universe: Ultron, Kang the Conqueror, Thanos, and the Masters of Evil. Their battles spanned dimensions and timelines, often resulting in catastrophic damage and loss. Yet every time cities fell and trust shattered, the team rebuilt stronger. They weren't just superheroes. They became the backbone of the Marvel Universe. Culturally, the Avengers transcended comics. The phrase "Avengers Assemble" became a global symbol of unity and resilience, carried from the pages of 1960s comics into billion-dollar films. Through it all, their message remained the same. Power means nothing without teamwork, and saving the world sometimes takes everyone. X-Men redefined what it meant to be a superhero team. When X-Men number 1 launched in 1963, also by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, it introduced a new kind of conflict. Not just good versus evil, but acceptance versus fear. Professor Charles Xavier's first class of mutants, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Beast, Iceman, and Angel, trained in secret to protect a world that distrusted them. Their very existence symbolized difference, and their stories quickly became metaphors for discrimination, identity, and civil rights. At the center of their struggle stood Magneto, Xavier's ideological opposite. While Xavier believed mutants and humans could coexist peacefully, Magneto believed dominance was the only path to survival. This philosophical divide fueled decades of storytelling, a clash between hope and rage, compassion and power. As the roster expanded, the X-Men grew even more complex. New members like Wolverine, Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, and Rogue brought layers of personal pain, loss, and resilience. Each had their own scars, yet they shared a mission that transcended their differences. Together, they faced threats like the Sentinels, Apocalypse, the Hellfire Club, and even their own teammates, as seen in the tragic Dark Phoenix saga. The X-Men stories weren't just about survival, they were about what it means to be human. Through their comics, Marvel tackled heavy themes: prejudice, trauma, and self-acceptance, making the team one of the most emotionally resonant in pop culture. Their influence stretched far beyond the page, inspiring blockbuster films, animated series, and generations of readers who saw themselves in these outcasts fighting for a better world. The X-Men didn't just protect humanity, they embodied it. Flawed, feared, but ultimately hopeful. The Thunderbolts, Marvel's greatest deception turned redemption story. When they debuted in The Incredible Hulk, number 449 in 1997, and later in their own series by Kurt Busiek and Mark Bagley, they were introduced as a brand new superhero team stepping up after the world lost the Avengers and the Fantastic Four. The public welcomed them as saviors, but the shocking twist revealed they were actually the masters of evil, villains in disguise, led by Baron Zemo. This revelation in issue number 1 changed everything. Readers discovered that the heroes they were cheering for were frauds. Yet, something unexpected happened within the story itself. Some members, including Songbird, Atlas, and Mach 1, began to believe in their heroic roles. What started as a manipulation slowly evolved into genuine redemption. Over the years, the Thunderbolts became a revolving door of redemption and corruption. Hawkeye, once an Avenger, even led the team at one point, guiding them toward legitimacy. Later rosters included unpredictable anti-heroes like Deadpool, Elektra, and the Punisher. Every version of the team wrestled with the same question: can villains truly change, or are they doomed to repeat their mistakes? Unlike traditional superhero groups, the Thunderbolts thrived on moral ambiguity. They operated in the gray zone where justice and manipulation blurred. Their missions were violent, messy, and personal. Each member fought not only external enemies, but also their own pasts. The result was a story that combined action with deep psychological tension, a look at what happens when the worst people try to do the right thing, and whether redemption is ever truly possible. The Illuminati, never meant to be public heroes. They were the ones who made the decisions no one else dared to. Introduced in New Avengers, Illuminati number 1, 2005, by Brian Michael Bendis and Steve McNiven. This secret council formed after the devastating Kree-Skrull War. The idea was simple, but dangerous. If the world's most powerful minds united behind closed doors, they could prevent future disasters before they began. The Illuminati's members represented different corners of power and ideology. Iron Man for technology, Mr. Fantastic for science, Professor X for mutant kind, Doctor Strange for the mystical realm, Black Bolt for the Inhumans, and Namor for Atlantis. Together, they shaped the fate of Earth from the shadows, believing secrecy was the price of peace. But their interventions came with heavy consequences. They exiled the Hulk into space to prevent further destruction, which directly led to Planet Hulk and World War Hulk. They also tried to secure the Infinity Gems, but their failure nearly destroyed reality itself. When Captain America opposed their methods, they erased his memory, a moment that defined just how far they were willing to go for what they believed was the greater good. As the multiverse began collapsing, the Illuminati were pushed to their moral limits in Jonathan Hickman's Time Runs Out arc. Forced to destroy entire realities to save their own, they crossed lines that even they couldn't justify. The team ultimately fell apart under the weight of guilt and secrecy. Their stories weren't about fighting villains, they were about control, sacrifice, and the cost of believing you know best. The Illuminati proved that intelligence and power, when unchecked, can become as dangerous as any supervillain. X-Force, they were never about heroism. It was about survival. Created by Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza, the team first appeared in New Mutants number 100 in 1991 before launching their own title. Led by Cable, a hardened, time-traveling soldier with a cybernetic arm and a singular mission, X-Force operated like a Black Ops unit within the mutant world. While the X-Men fought for peace, X-Force fought to eliminate threats before they could begin. The original lineup included Cannonball, Boom Boom, Warpath, Domino, Feral, and Shatterstar, a mix of mutants willing to cross every line to protect their kind. They didn't hold press conferences or look for approval. They got results. Their tactics were preemptive, violent, and often morally gray. As the team evolved, so did its members. Later versions featured Wolverine, Psylocke, Deadpool, and Archangel, blending stealth assassins, killers, and soldiers into one deadly strike force. One of the most defining stories came under writer Rick Remender, when Archangel transformed into a new version of Apocalypse, a godlike mutant capable of annihilation. X-Force was forced to confront one of their own, pushing them into horrifying territory filled with betrayal, blood, and irreversible trauma. It wasn't a story about victory. It was about the emotional cost of doing the unthinkable. Unlike other Marvel teams that represented ideals or hope, X-Force stood for the grim necessity of the dirty work no one else would do. They protected the mutant dream, not through diplomacy, but through decisive, often brutal action. In every incarnation, X-Force asked the same chilling question: how far are heroes willing to go to keep the peace? Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four didn't just create Marvel's first superhero family, they redefined what a team could be. Debuting in Fantastic Four number 1, 1961, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, the series broke away from secret identities and perfect heroes. Instead, it introduced flawed, emotional people who just happened to gain incredible powers after a space mission went wrong. Bombarded by cosmic rays, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm became bound together by both mutation and loyalty. Reed Richards, or Mr. Fantastic, embodied intellect and ambition, often stretching his mind and body beyond reason. Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, served as the emotional and moral center, her strength often surpassing the team's physical power. Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, brought impulsive energy and youth, while Ben Grimm, the Thing, represented tragedy and resilience. a man turned into rock who never lost his humanity. Their dynamic was grounded in realism. They argued, doubted, and made mistakes, yet their bond always endured. Their adventures pushed the boundaries of imagination, exploring the negative zone, traveling through time, and facing cosmic threats like Galactus, the World Devourer. Their greatest rival, Doctor Doom, reflected the darker side of genius and pride, a mirror of Reed's intellect twisted by ego and pain. Beyond the battles, Fantastic Four was about exploration, discovery, and the weight of leadership. It blended science fiction with family drama, making the Marvel Universe feel vast and connected. The series didn't glorify perfection, it celebrated persistence. It showed that even when power divides and the unknown terrifies, trust and family can hold the universe together. Midnight Suns, born from darkness, a team forged in the shadows to fight the supernatural threats no other heroes dared face. Debuting in Ghost Rider Volume 3 number 28 in the early 1990s, this group brought horror, mysticism, and moral ambiguity to Marvel's world. The original lineup included Ghost Rider, Danny Ketch, Johnny Blaze, Morbius the Living Vampire, Blade the Vampire Hunter, and the Night Stalkers. They didn't fight for fame or glory, they fought because no one else could. Their first major mission was apocalyptic in scale. The demonic sorceress Lilith, the mother of demons, rose from the depths to conquer Earth with her monstrous offspring. The Midnight Suns stood as the final line of defense, battling her and her army through blood, fire, and ritual. Their war wasn't about saving the day. It was about preventing hell from consuming the world. Over time, the team's ranks shifted, drawing in figures like Doctor Strange, Damon Hellstrom, and Moon Knight. Each new member carried a unique burden, from curses to dark pasts, bound together by a shared understanding. Sometimes, the light can only survive through the darkness. Unlike other Marvel teams, the Midnight Suns didn't operate under moral clarity. Their victories came with cost, souls lost, innocence burned, and choices that haunted them forever. Their stories reflected Marvel's push toward mature, horror-infused storytelling. Through blood rituals, ancient magic, and psychological terror, the Midnight Suns became the embodiment of Marvel's supernatural side, the heroes of the night who protect the living from the damned. Their influence can still be felt today, from the Midnight Suns video game to darker arcs in the MCU, proving that not all heroes wear capes, some wear scars. Guardians of the Galaxy, proof that even the most chaotic misfits can become the universe's greatest defenders. Their origins go back to Marvel Superheroes number 18 in 1969, but the modern incarnation, the one fans recognize today, took shape in 2008's Annihilation Conquest. This version, led by Star-Lord, brought together Gamora, Drax the Destroyer, Rocket Raccoon, Groot, and later Mantis and Nebula. Unlike the Avengers or X-Men, they didn't form out of ideology or destiny. They banded together because someone had to keep the galaxy from falling apart. Each Guardian carried personal baggage heavier than their weaponry. Star-Lord was a man trying to atone for failure. Gamora sought redemption for her life as an assassin under Thanos. Drax lived for vengeance, Rocket for survival, and Groot, the gentle giant, served as their unlikely heart. Together, they turned dysfunction into strength, proving that broken people could still do incredible things. Their adventures played out like space westerns mixed with cosmic horror, full of impossible odds, strange worlds, and existential threats. They faced enemies like Ronan the Accuser, the Universal Church of Truth, and the Phalanx, but their biggest battles were often internal: pride, guilt, and mistrust. What made the Guardians of the Galaxy unique was their humor and heart. They failed often, fought constantly, but never gave up on each other.